हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। The invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नष्टप्रायो विश्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. I welcome you all to the session of Shrimad Bhagvatam. All glories to the assembled devotees. Please bless me that I speak the right words in the right mode. Vakam karoti vachanam Langayate girim yatsripatamham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Just give me 2 minutes, my president. I don't know why my presentation is not opening. Anyway, I will share the Okay, do I have this share option? I will go to Veda based.
Mataji, do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah, I got it, Mataji. Because I had made that presentation. I don't know, it's not opening up. No problem.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so today we finished with the 3 verses. Today we start the 4th verse. We are in Canto 2. That is the cosmic manifestation, the 9th chapter, answers by citing the words Lord's version. In the 8th chapter, we saw that there were many questions that were asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukadev Goswami. So based on that, there are few. So let us understand that what were the few questions that were asked by Parikshit Maharaj during to Shukadev Goswami. Hari Bol. 1 minute. Huh? Just give me 1 minute. I'm up. Can I join back again, Mataji?
Yeah, sure, Mataji. Yeah.
Yeah, because everything got stuck. Give me 2 minutes. I'll just join back and then.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Can someone do Kirtan for 2 minutes? I'll call Mataji and ask what's the problem. Any one of you?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Deepa Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji. There was some
Mataji is here. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Mataji. Okay. Thank you, Deepa Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. So we saw that in the 8th chapter, there were various questions that were asked by Parikshit Maharaj, right? So let us recap what were those various questions that was asked. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Maharaj Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami, how did Narada Muni explain the transcendental qualities of Lord as instructed by the Brahmaji?
Yes.
And before whom did he speak? That's the first question he asked.
Okay. Then
Secondly, he asked, what are the narrations concerning the Lord?
Okay, he wanted to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. Isn't it?
Yes.
And then further. Others also can.
He also asked Mataji, spirit soul, is it different from the material body? And does he acquire the body? Did he acquire the body accidentally or by some reason?
Yeah. And then he also asked, what is the difference between the body of the Lord and the
common body of the common man?
And the jiva. Yeah, yes. Very good, Mataji. Then further, and many questions were asked by him, right? Then he asked about the creation. He asked about what is the lifespan of the human beings, the demigods, and then the position of different planets. Reaction, yes, as you said, what are the reaction to the various activities we do? So like that N number. Then he asked about the specific duties in the Varna and Ashrama. Then he asked about the process of devotional service. So we thought that there were many questions that were asked. And then further in this chapter, we see that it is talking about, it is the answer to those 4 questions. So in the first 3 words, what did we understand yesterday's class? how the explanation of the body was given, right?
And difference between I and mind, Mataji.
Yeah. So that means we are in Maya, right?
Yes, Mataji.
When we are in Maya, that time that attitude comes that it is I and mine. So how is that body described? How should we understand the first verse? The relationship between the Jivatma and the body.
Just like a dream, Mataji.
Ah,
Like
yes.
one in a dream.
Yeah, it is just like a dream. So we see how temporary and unreal it is in this material world, right? So only when we and how do we come out of this? The third verse it says that we have to come out of it by devotional service. Only when we come out of devotional service, then do we understand, right? So we will go on to the fourth verse. I will be covering up the fourth verse, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So in this fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, it is actually a platform of Lord Brahma and Lord conversation, where I think somebody's microphone is on. Yeah, wherein giving through Brahma, Lord Brahma, we are given certain some teachings what we have to do, like how Lord Brahma, when he was born out of the navel of the Lord, as he came on the lotus flower, right? And then when he appeared, it was very difficult. He did not find anyone around him. He was surrounded by water. So to understand his source, he went down through the stalk of the lotus flower, yet he did not see anything. And then when he came up, he heard a transcendental voice, that a message given to him. And then he followed that instruction that was given to him. So these activities of Lord Brahma, through these activities, they are giving us some teachings for us, what we have to do. So through these verses, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, we will understand what is those instruction that has been given to us. So as we go, Ramachandra Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. So the fourth verse, it says that Atma Tattva Vishuddhartam Yadaha Bhagavan Ritam Brahmane Darshayam Rupam Avyalika Vratadritaha. Yes, Mataji. You can also.
Atma Tattva Vishuddhi Artham Yadaha Bhagavan Ritam Brahmane Darshayan Rupam Avyalika Vratha.
Yes, Mataji. Now the translation, Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O King, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-destructive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here in this, it says that Atma Tattva Vishuddhartham, right? It is Atma Tattva. When we know about the eternal and transcendental form, then the objective goal for purifying, that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul. So we should understand what is Atma Tattva, right? So here Atma Tattva means the science of your God and the science of living entity. And when we understand that tattva, the science of the soul, that leads to our purification. So understanding the science of the soul, of self and the Lord, this leads to our purification. So how do we get that purification? That is, how do we understand it? That is through bhakti. By the proper, and for us as a neophyte, we should start from sadhana bhakti. So now let us understand what is this Atma Tattva. Because many have this misconception about this Atma Tattva, the science of the Atma. When we say Atma, even we, the Jivatma and the Paramatma. We, the Jivatma, we are Anu, and Paramatma is Vibhu. We are just a drop of that salt water in the ocean of salt water, right? So that is our position. But there is misconception. What do people think? That they identify themselves to be the body. That is the misconception of Jivatma. And the misconception of Paramatma is that they speculate. What do they speculate is that when the Lord descends to this material world, he has a material body. That is the speculation that general people have. But Lord is transcendental. He comes here for our welfare, to deliver us from this material world. But we are in this material world, we are conditioned, right? Conditioned by what? We are conditioned by what?
Three modes of material nature.
Three
Yeah.
modes of nature.
Yeah. In this three modes of material nature, we are conditioned. As a result of this, what happens? There is Ichcha and Dvesha, right? There is desire, there is hatred. And we are always in this duality, Dvandva Mohena. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it says that Ichcha Desha Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sarge Yanti Parantapa. Because of these dualities, of honor, dishonor, sukha, dukkha, he's a boy, she's a girl, we have all this. So we are always in this anxiety, and we fail to understand the real tattva. So the important is that we have to remove these dualities in our life, and that is possible only when we take up bhakti. We have to take up bhakti yoga. So that is what, giving an example of Lord Brahma, how Lord Brahma also, he took up this bhakti yoga. Then only he could understand, he could see the Lord, the transcendental form of the Lord. So it is in the verse itself, Prabhupada gives the example of, sunlight. As in the sunlight, everything is visible to us, right? But when we are in the darkness, we cannot see ourselves also. So that sunlight is what, when we are in relationship with all our activities are in relationship with the Supreme Lord, then we get that right vision. In this chapter itself, as we go further, the Chatushloki, the four, as we have Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita like that, there is Chatushloki Bhagavatam also, from 2.9.33 to 36. So in 34, it says that Rithertam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani. That means whatever we feel in this material world as worthy, of some value, right? We value our relationship, right? We value our job, we value our wealth, we value our possessions. So it says that all this which you consider to be valuable, right? If it is not in relation to the Lord, then it is of no use. And that why you feel that to be of any value, it is only because you are in Maya. Tat vidyat atmano mayam yatha basho yatha tamaha. That means you are just in the reflection of the reality in the mode of ignorance. So we understand that it is in the mode of ignorance, right? So because of this ignorance, we feel that mama, I and my, that is what has to be, that misconception has to be given up. So when these misconceptions are clear, it becomes clear when we realize the Lord. Further, in that 7th chapter itself, it says that there is a verse which says, Yesham tava antagata papam. When we are free from all the sinful reaction, and then when we do some punya karmana, and when we are dvandva moha vinirmukta, when we are free from these dualities, then we will realize bhajante mam dridavatam. By doing this worship, devotional service to the Lord, we can come out of the dualities of moha, dvanda, dualities, and of this ichcha, dvesha, we can come out. We become inirmukta. So here the Lord presented his eternal form to Brahmaji. When did he represent it? When he was discharging his bhakti. Even in so this gives us the teaching that we have to do devotional service, only then we could realize the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a similar verse, 18.55. Can anybody recollect it? How do we?
सर्वथा
No, that is 6, 5, 6.
Bhaktya mam abhijanati ma.
Yes. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Can you recite that, Mataji?
Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tad anantaram.
Yeah. So what does it say? When can we vishate tad anantaram? When can we go to the abode of the Lord?
After devotional service.
Yeah. Tato man tatvato gnata. By devotional service, we understand the tattva and thus we become eligible to enter the abode of the Supreme Lord. So, thus Brahmaji also took that great penance, performing Bhakti Yoga, and thus he could see the transcendental form of the Lord. So, we understand that the human form is for, this human life is meant for austerity. Right? Whatever, we have to take some austerity, devotional service, and then we can realize the Lord. So, here from this we can understand that the form of the Lord is Satta Chittan Anand. Correct, isn't it? He is eternal, he is full of knowledge, and he is blissful. Even as a soul, we are also Sat Chittan Anand. The quality is the same, quantity wise less. But then because because of this misconception where we have identified ourselves with the body, so we do not realize this. So we have to make an attempt to achieve, realize that form, and that is the conditioned soul can regain this eternal form of eternal knowledge and bliss only by bhakti. And Brahma Samhita, what does it say? We have to premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena
Santa Sadaiva
Santam Sadayeshwari.
vilokayanti yat shyama sundaram achintya. Yeah, so how it should be, we should apply, we apply kajal, right? So like that, we should have the love for the Lord, then only. So the Lord will also reciprocate, but it depends upon to what degree you have surrendered to the Lord. To that degree, the Lord will reciprocate. In that way, it's there is one where Maharaja Yudhishthira asked Lord Krishna, during the gambling, right? When we were losing everything, right? Why didn't you come and help us? So Krishna told that I was there at the door, but you did not ask for the help, right? Krishna is there for everyone, but we have to surrender. How much? In fact, in case of Bhima would, whatever the Lord says, Bhima, without any second, without any question, he would perform that activity. So when there was the release of Narayana Shastra, so it would, when that is released, it will go and it will reach its target. So the only way is you have to bend down, right? So Krishna gave the instruction to everybody that all of you all sit down, but Bhima was in the end. He wouldn't reach that, his instructions did not reach him. So Krishna ran to him and he protected him. So it all depends upon how much we surrender. To that extent, there is reciprocation. So as a neophyte, we should follow the various steps. First, we should develop faith. We should do our sadhana properly. First, we should have the faith. When we have the faith, we will do sadhu sangha. We will have association. Association is very important. After we associate, then we start doing what our God brother, what the devotees, senior devotees are doing. Bhajana Kriya. After Bhajana Kriya, when we start attending the various kirtan, various lectures, then that we will do anartha nivriti. We will do what is not to be done. We will, all our habits, we try to control it, right? And then we develop a ruchi, we develop asakti, and then we develop the bhava stage. In that bhava stage, when the bhava stage becomes intense, that is when we realize a lot. So when those devotees, pure devotees who are in the bhava stage, they display some symptoms like they become stunned, they start crying, they dance, their speech gets altered, there is perspiration on their face, and they will, their hair on ends. These are the symptoms. If you read Nectar of Devotion, a full chapter on this bhava stage, the different, the categories of bhava, moist bhava, dry bhava, burnt bhava. In the moist bhava, again, direct and indirect, like how Radharani, she's thinking only about Krishna. When she hears the flute itself, suddenly she will leave all her work and she is just stunned. That is in the moist stage, moist form of bhava, where she is indirectly she is thinking about the Lord. And indirectly, they give the example of Yashoda Mai. Yashoda Mai, when she remembers that yes, the 8 transcendental, yes, Mataji, somebody has put in the group, the 8 transcendental symptoms, correct. So even Yashoda Mai, when she is in so much love for Krishna that she chastises the messengers who came from Mathura to take away Krishna, right? So that is one form of bhava that is being expressed. Then in the burn, we say, no, you have to bear the burn. That means whatever happened in the past, when you think about that. Similarly, Yashoda Mai also, she has when Krishna was very small, just born few days, that time Putana comes, right? So she has that various experiences, and in the dream also, when she would see that there is Putana in the courtyard, she would just wake up from her dream and she would run about the place, searching for Krishna. Searching for Krishna. This is another type of a bhava, that is a burnt bhava. And then they describe about dry bhava, where the non-devotees, when they come in contact with the pure devotees, they also experiences this. So we see that how divine is devotional service, and it is only through devotional service that we can achieve we can realize, we can become God conscious. And even and Srila Prabhupada also, the devotees would say that while giving lectures, suddenly he would become stunned and quiet, and they would feel as if, he is in some another world. They could perceive a change in the consciousness. It looked as if he was in the spiritual world and he was communicating with them. So that is it. So these are the effects of. So we can read. Maybe from here, the summary, can Divya Gopa Mataji, the last paragraph, Mataji.
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranams. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The summary is that due to ignorance, the conditioned soul is engaged in the temporary varieties of material forms. But the Supreme Lord has no such temporary form like the conditioned souls. He is always possessed of an eternal form of knowledge and bliss. And that is the difference between the Lord and the living entity. One can understand this difference by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Brahma was then told by the Lord the gist of Shrimad Bhagavatam in 4 original verses. Thus, Shrimad Bhagavatam is not a creation of the mental speculators. The sound of Shrimad Bhagavatam is transcendental, and the resonance of Shrimad Bhagavatam is as good as that of the Vedas. Thus, the topic of the Shrimad Bhagavatam is the science of both the Lord and the living entity. Regular reading or hearing of Shrimad Bhagavatam is also performance of Bhakti Yoga, and one can attain the highest perfection simply by the association of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Both Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit attained perfection through the medium of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So this is the first lesson. So what is the first lesson we learned from this verse? It says that Atma Tattva Vishuddhatam Yadaha Bhagavan Ritam. The first line of the verse, what does it, of this
When we know the Supreme Lord, then only we'll be, when we know the Atma Tattva, the self-realization, then we can go towards purification. That is possible only through bhakti.
Yeah, and in the last verse of this, in the summary of this purport, what does it say? This topic of Shrimad Bhagavatam is the science of both the Lord and living entity. That means this is the Atma Tattva, Shrimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, regular reading or hearing of Shrimad Bhagavatam is the performance of Bhakti Yoga. And one can attain the highest perfection simply by the association of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Both Shukadev Goswami and Maharaja Parikshit attained the perfection through the medium of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So how important it is, right, to understand Shrimad Bhagavatam, and that is the highest way to achieve perfection. So through Shrimad Bhagavatam, we know the science, right? Nowadays, we see that people do not know the knowledge, they do not have the knowledge, and thus they fall a prey to the other religion. They get converted, and then they suffer, and then they realize. And when they get the realization, if you have seen that movie, the Kerala Story, you can see that it is only because of ignorance, isn't it? They fell into it. So how important it is that we should know our scripture, which has got everything in it. So that note, go further. So in this verse, it is Atma Tattva Vishuddhartha, means the Lord purifies the conditional soul and bestows on them the transcendental knowledge. That is what is concluded. So we go on to the, is it okay? The understanding of the fourth verse?
Very clear, Mataji.
Yeah. So now we go on to the fifth verse. Would somebody like to take up or?
I can do Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sa Adidevo Jagatam Paro Guru Swadishnyamastha Yasistriksha Yaikshata Tamnadhya Gacchad Drishamatra Sammatam Prapancha Nirmana Vidhiryaya Bhavet.
Hare Krishna.
Translation, Mataji, or
somebody else would take. Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Nirmala Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, would not trace out the source of his lotus seat. And while thinking of creating the material world, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative work, nor would he find out the process for such creation. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Those who have read, no, they can lower the hand, so and the others can get a chance. So we understand, right? The reading Shrimad Bhagavatam is so important to achieve the perfection. So we'll give chance to all. So here we that Lord Brahma, he went down, right, to search, but he did not see. Why he did not see? What would be the reason? Why he was not able to see? Any thoughts? Okay, let us understand through Prabhupada's verses and his purport. Okay, so it is said that that he from this we can understand that he could not see. That means Lord Brahma is in the material world, so there is something spiritual also, right? So it is not a myth; it is true that there is a spiritual world, but he was not able to see. That means he cannot see with the material eyes. We need a spiritual eye, the spiritual senses. Then only we can see, right? Now see in our body. We have the eyes, right? A person when he is dead, even he has that organ, eye, but still he cannot see. So is it the body that is seeing? Is it the body that is seeing, or it is the soul?
Consciousness,
Yeah.
the soul's consciousness.
Consciousness, yes. Yeah. So now like I cannot see well, so I wear a specs, isn't it? So but if my specs has got some tint, so everything appears with whatever tinted it is. If it is red color, everything will appear red. If it is blue, it will appear blue, right? Similarly, the soul, which its consciousness we see, but when it identifies itself with the body, that is where the problem arises. So here that purification is required. So we see that in this material creation itself is in the mode of ignorance. So we have to purify it. When we get purified, when the senses are purified, then we can see properly. We have to develop the right vision. Okay. So now the question will arise, how do we develop that right vision? Isn't it? So how do we develop? We have to take the shelter of a guru. We have to take because we are born in this material world, we are conditioned that we all accepted it, isn't it? We are born in ignorance. So we need a mercy of a guru. We say, no, Om Chakshur Unmilitam Yena. Before we start, we say the prayers where we are asking the mercy of the guru who will give us the right, who will enlighten our vision, who will give us the right path, the right vision through which we can come out of this darkness, of the what? That we are the Lord. It is mine. But our constitutional position is that we are the servant. We should understand that position. And that is possible when we take a shelter of a guru. And a guru should be bona fide. So when I say guru should be bona fide, means what? The guru should
Succession.
Be in parampara.
He should be in parampara. Okay. And then the mode of the guru should be
Servant
Krishna
of the servant.
Yeah, and it should be Yei Krishna Tattva Sei Guru Hoy. That means he should always talk about Krishna. And yeah, he should, and his motive is to direct us to the path, towards the path of Krishna consciousness. So we see that in ISKCON itself, Srila Prabhupada, at the age of a very ripe age, like 69, 70, he took so much of austerity, going to US without any acquaintance, but adjusting to the condition. Like he used to stay with people who were meat eaters, adjusting with them, but never gave up the Krishna conscious. He never gave up that austerity. He was that he has to give this message. Everybody should get the message that only by coming into Krishna consciousness, you can liberate yourself from this conditioned form of life. So in that short span of 10 years, the number of books he has written, the number of temples he has constructed, just giving us the chance to, to liberate ourselves from this material. So we see here that, can somebody read from here, the power of creation by Lord Brahma till the end? Anita Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Maybe from here till
I have
here.
to study the second paragraph.
Yeah, from the second paragraph itself, you can. Such knowledge of spirituals.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Such knowledge of the spiritual sky far above this material sky and its paraphernalia can be known only by dint of devotional service or bhakti yoga. The power of creation by Lord Brahma was also achieved by bhakti yoga. Brahmaji was bewildered in the matter of creation and he could not even trace out the source of his own existence. But all this knowledge was fully achieved by him through the medium of bhakti yoga. By bhakti yoga, one can know the Lord, and by knowing the Lord as the Supreme, one is able to know everything else. One who knows the Supreme knows everything else. That is the version of all Vedas. Even the first spiritual master of the universe was enlightened by the grace of the Lord. So who else can attain perfect knowledge of everything without the mercy of the Lord? If anyone desires to seek perfect knowledge of everything, he must seek the mercy of the Lord, and there is no other means. To seek knowledge on the strength of one's personal attempt is sheer a waste of time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See, to seek knowledge at the strength of one's personal attempt is sheer waste of time. That means we have to seek the shelter of a guru. That means we have to get our vision. Can it be muted? Okay. So somebody's microphone is okay. So we understand that we have to purify our vision. We have to get this purified vision means we have to get the right knowledge. That right knowledge, not through, it should be through a guru. So we have here giving the importance of, first the verse said that we have to read the scriptures, especially which is recommended as Shrimad Bhagvatam. And Prabhupada in most of the lectures and purports it says, Bhagavad Gita, Shrimad Bhagavatam. Second verse says that, yes, you should do it, but you should not seek knowledge at your own personal attempt. That means giving the importance of taking the shelter of a guru. We move further. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hope everybody is with me. Are we in a flow?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful so far.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Radhika Mataji can take up the verse.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji, I can hear you.
Yeah, sure. Sa chintayan dvik aksharam ekadambasi upashino dvir gaditam vacho vibhuhu spasheshu yatshodasham ekavimsam nishkinchananam nirpayad danam viduhu. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Now the translation, Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While thus engaging in thinking in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby two syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined to become the 20th, and both joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life. Thank you, Mataji. Shall I read the purport? Anybody else?
I'll tell Mataji. So we understood that Brahmaji, he went down. He just said that Brahmaji went up to the navel, but still he did not see anything. So we understand that this material world is in the mode of ignorance. Then he came up. When he came up, he heard a sound, tapa, tapa, right? So here the description is, it is said that the Sparsha alphabets, right? Like that way, the 16th alphabet, as we know, right? It has got 5 categories. First is the Kha, Kha, Ka, Ga, Ga, Nga. Then it is the Cha, then it is the Ta, and then comes the Ta. So the 16th is the Ta, and the 21st is the Pa. So when it joined, it is Tapa. So Brahmaji understood that, he heard that, right? So he understood that he has to do Tapa, right? So what do we understand by this Tapa, austerity? What is that? What does Tapa means?
Meditation.
To meditate.
He has to meditate.
Meditate on the Lord.
Only meditation?
Basically, austerity,
Self-realization, Mataji.
giving up all other thoughts, maybe renouncing everything. But what to be renounced? I don't know.
Yeah. So it should be that anything, any activity, voluntarily we are accepting that difficult conditions for spiritual. It is not easy. It is a difficult. We are not comfortable, but voluntarily we are accepting it for a goal, for a ultimate goal, aim, that is spiritual advancement. Like whenever we go to people, right, we invite them to our Bhakti Vriksha. The main thing what they are scared about is that austerity, because the Bhakti, we have to do austerity in the way of giving up our bad habits. All those are impediments to our, I think somebody is chanting. It says that chanting and hearing both should not be together. Either we chant or we hear. We don't do justice to both. So it is okay with that. So there are 5 things which should be avoided, right? What 4 things? That is gambling, meat eating, illicit sex, and intoxication. So that is what. So first thing, the people are scared that they cannot leave tea, they cannot leave coffee, right? So we should understand it is a form of intoxication, because the moment you stop it, you get some withdrawal symptoms, right? Why you're getting withdrawal system? Because there is some addiction in it. And so people are very scared. They don't want to do any austerity. But here through Brahmaji, we come to know that he came up. So he was instructed by the Lord to austerity. So we understand that this human body is meant for austerity. We have to do austerity. That is the message that is there. So here also, like all of you have, there are some Matajis I've seen that they are attending from morning, the Mangala Aarti. After Mangala Aarti, then there is Bhagavad Gita recitation. After that, they come to the Shrimad Bhagvatam class and so on. So this is also a kind of an austerity which we are doing. For what? For our spiritual advancement. So thanks to ICF, thanks to ISKCON who are giving us so many opportunities, to get this realization. So further, so we understand that taking the path of tapa is the second birth of a desiring disciple, right? That means we take a guru, right? After we come in the shelter of the guru, we have to get initiated. And thus the guru will give us the instructions. That is our austerity. So maybe somebody can read from, because we are falling short of time. Yeah, maybe the second, when Lord Brahma was perplexed. From here, who has not read? Yeah, Sharmila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Lord Brahma was perplexed about how to construct the material manifestations in the universe and went down within the water to find out the means and the source of his lotus seed, he heard the word tapa vibrated twice, taking the path of tapa in the second birth of the desiring disciple. The word upashranot is very significant. It is similar to Upanayana, or bringing the disciple nearer to the spiritual master for the path of tapa. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna, and this fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in his book, the Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma has sung in every verse, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Thus Brahma was initiated by the Krishna mantra by Lord Krishna himself, and thus he became a Vaishnava or a devotee of the Lord before he was able to construct the huge universe. It is stated in the Brahma Samhita that Lord Brahma was initiated into the 18-letter Krishna mantra, which is generally accepted by all the devotees of Lord Krishna. We follow the same principle because we belong to the Brahma Sampradaya, directly in the disciplic chain from Brahma to Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, from Vyasa to Madhva Muni, from Madhva Muni to Madhavendra Puri, from Madhavendra Puri to Ishwara Puri, from Ishwara Puri to Lord Chaitanya, and gradually to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, our Divine Master. One who is thus initiated in the disciplic succession is able to achieve the same result or power of creation. Chanting of this holy mantra is the only shelter of the desireless, pure devotee of the Lord. Simply by such tapasya or penance, the devotee of the Lord achieves all perfections like Lord Brahma. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So see how crystal clear it is, isn't it? So our tapasya is, but we have to first come under the shelter of a guru, and then we have to do our the prescribed rounds, which has been told, the process of devotional service, which has been given to us by Prabhupada. Prabhupada made a proper program for us. Early morning, even that is a tapasya, right? That is an austerity. Wake up early morning. 4:30 is the Mangala Aarti. In the Mangala Aarti, we say all the prayers. After that, there is chanting. After chanting, hearing of Shrimad Bhagvatam. Then disperse. Then we have in the evening all the prayers. Even at 12 o'clock, we have the Sringara Aarti. Then in the evening also, we have the Gaur Aarti, followed by Bhagavad Gita. So this is what we have to follow. That is our tapasya, following the instructions of the Guru. So one who is thus initiated in the disciplic succession is able to achieve the same power. You will also get that power. Right? So tapasya is required. When you get the tapasya, God will give you the power to fulfill it. Here, Brahmaji did tapasya, he got the power of creation. Srila Prabhupada did the tapasya. You can see the result of Lord Srila Prabhupada's tapasya, that we are now, we are reading his scriptures. He has written so many books, so many centers, so many instructions given. So we also should come under the shelter of a guru, take initiation. We will get the power. Tapasya is required. Human body is meant for that. We have to write it in bold letter. It is meant for tapasya. There is austerity. Austerity does not mean that it's just sitting and closing your eyes, meditation. No, it involves all the activity. If you are cooking, that is also, cooking is also, you have to go to the market, find out the best thing, mix it in a proper proportion, offering it to the Lord. Then you're having. Why you're doing it? For your spiritual advancement. So all the activities which you do, where spiritual advancement is related, it has to be, it is tapasya, it is an austerity. So chanting the holy name for us in this Kali Yuga, it is chanting of the holy name. That is the shelter and the of the desireless pure devotee of the Lord. Simply by tapasya and penance, the devotee can achieve perfection, just like how Lord Brahma achieved. Okay, further, the
Mataji,
seventh.
What is this 18 letter Krishna?
Yeah, I know this. This, if you go to in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 5.22, there is a mention of this. The mantra is Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Swaha. It is called as the Ashta Dashakshara. So this is the verse, 18-letter word that has been recited. You can refer this, Mataji, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 5.221. There is a mention.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So the seventh verse, who would like to recite? Please recite. Take the those who have not done Chandra Prabha Mataji. This is the only way, reading Shrimad Bhagvatam, to get the highest form of realization. Anybody who has not read.
Mataji?
Yes, who is that Mataji? Who?
Sarika.
Yes, Mataji. Very good.
Nishmaya tat vaktir didrakashya disho vilokya tatranyat apashyamanaha swadhishnyam ashtaya vimrashya taddihitam tapasya ubhadishta ivadhade manaha.
Very good. Vandana Mataji can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus state firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. Mataji, purport also?
I'll tell Mataji. We'll just go through. So here is Nisamya Yat Tad Vaktra Didrikshayo Disho. That means after hearing the sound, he heard the sound Tapa, and he then looked in all the direction to identify the source from which it came. Viloka Tatradnayat Apashyamana. Anyad Apashya. He did not see anyone, right? So what he said, then he got the instruction, do what has been instructed. So as instructed, he went into meditation. He did tapasya. So here we see that the external sound which Brahma received, he received, that is also, you can understand that the instruction of a guru. So, and then in the first verse of Shrimad Bhagvatam 1.1.1, Teni Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye. Right? Brahma got the knowledge even from the heart. It was delivered to him through the heart. So we see that the Lord communicates with the devotee internally and externally, isn't it? Antar Bahir Avastitam. Kunti Maharani also says, even then the people do not see him, right? So as a Paramatma within our heart, the Chaitya Guru, he will instruct. And when according to our desire, he will guide us to the path. And that path we will get an external, a spiritual master who will further take us towards the light. So here we say that a spiritual master who comes externally, the spiritual master who comes, he is a representative of the Lord. That is what we have to understand, that he is same as the Lord, but he is not the God. He is the purpose of Bhagavatam Prabhu. I think Shubharav Prabhu, can somebody I don't know. Okay.
Can I read, Mataji?
No, I'll tell Prabhu. Can you just mute your microphone, please? Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So Prabhupada, in his lecture on this verse, he gives a lot of importance to understand the spiritual master. You know, we should a bona fide spiritual master. What is the position of a spiritual master? Because the spiritual master is same as that of the Lord in the sense that he is, the Lord also descended to this material world with only one goal of delivering us from this material world, isn't it? So the Lord Brahma was fortunate enough. The Lord himself came and initiated him and gave him the instruction. But for us in this material world, for us, it is the spiritual master. The Lord sends this representative because we say in Guru Ashtagam, right? Sakshat Daritvena Samastra Shastri. All the Shastra says that this spiritual master is none but the external representation of the Lord, and he is very dear to the Lord because he is serving the people to come back, to guiding the people to go back to Godhead. Therefore, he is very dear to the Lord. So the message of the message carried by the spiritual master is same as the Lord. That is why we say that he is same as that of the Lord. Not like a father and son. Sometimes we say, right, that son is exactly like the father, right? He is but that doesn't mean both are one. Both are different. But the activities that is being carried out is the same. So here we understand that how the Lord instruct us. So first is we have to take the shelter of a guru, get initiated under the guru, and then follow the instructions given by the guru. How Brahmaji also followed the instruction. He was initiated. He followed that instruction. He did tapasya for thousands of years, and thus he got the power. So maybe we can read the purport and we can understand further more. Yes, Shubharao Prabhu. Maybe the second paragraph onwards you can say, as already stated.
Okay, Mataji. Purport or translation, both of Mataji? Only purport.
Purport, Prabhu, you were not with
only purport, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, the second paragraph on.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki. As already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe, and since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Shrimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession. And in order to receive the real message of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link of the spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. After being initiated by proper spiritual master in that chain of succession, one engage himself in the discharge of tapasya, in the execution
we cannot
of
hear
devotional
Prabhu well.
One should not.
There's a lot of disturbance.
Can I
read, Mataji?
Can I give it to someone, Prabhu, because there is background lot of noises.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Can I read, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, who has not read can take over.
Yeah, I'll read, Mataji.
As already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe. And since he is initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Shrimad Bhagavatam is coming down by a disciplic succession. And in order to receive the real message of Shrimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. After being initiated by the proper spiritual master in the chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya, in the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma to be initiated directly by the Lord from inside, because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. The post of Brahma to officiate in the creation of the universe is offered to the most pure living being, and unless one is so qualified, one cannot expect to be treated like Brahmaji directly, but one can have the same facility through unalloyed devotees of the Lord, through the scriptural instructions as revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam especially, and also through the bona fide spiritual master available to the sincere soul. The Lord himself appears as the spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart and about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential and beloved representative of the Lord. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of the Lord. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we understand here that the post of Brahma, who gets it? Those who have done a lot of pious activity. And suppose if somebody is not eligible for that post, it is said that Lord himself takes up the post of Brahmaji, the creation. So we are not that as pure. So for us, it is Brahmaji was fortunate enough that he was initiated by the Lord himself. But for us, it is the spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master who is equivalent to that of the Lord, who has come down as a messenger of the Lord, as a representative of the Lord to deliver us. So after we take, many times it has seen that the devotees, after they take initiation, they feel that they have reached the highest. No, initiation is the beginning, and from there starts our tapasya. So we should follow the instructions. Whatever vow we have taken during the initiation, very diligently, we have to follow that. It should be a hetuki and a pratihata, right? With overcoming all the impediments. With faith, we follow. Definitely, we will achieve the desired goal by the grace of the Lord. This is what it is conveyed in this 4 verses. First is you should know the Atma Tattva, and know that is the science of the Lord. How do we achieve it? Through Shrimad Bhagavatam. And first, by reading that, we can get a clear, our vision gets clear. We see everything through in the right perspectives. For that, we have to accept a guru, and then we have to take initiation under a guru. And then we should understand that this human body is meant for tapasya, right? It says that no gain without any pain, right? No pain, no gain. Similarly, this human body is not meant for enjoyment. It is meant for tapasya to achieve the supreme goal. And after taking initiation, coming under the shelter of a guru, we should follow the instructions given by the guru. And thus we achieve the desired result. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. If any questions, we can take up. Maybe somebody, if no question, somebody in short can tell us what did we understand today in today's class from 4th, 5th, and 6th, 7th verse. Or one by one, at least one understanding.
Devotional service is the primary thing for achieving self-realization, Mataji.
Very well. Second, anybody else?
Main word from verse we have learnt is Atma Tattva, Mataji. The science of soul and self of the Lord. Through bhakti only we can get, through bhakti we will get purified, Mataji.
Very good. Yes, Shubharao Prabhu, you have raised your hand.
Hare Krishna Mataji. We have to follow like Lord Brahma, totally believing there is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and understand that tapasya has to be done.
Very good. We should be very fixed and serious in our spiritual life. Not that we do initiation, everything is done. Spiritual life starts from initiation itself. Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Importance of bona fide Guru and reading scriptures, Mataji.
Hare Bol. Yes. Yes, Deepa Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, as long as we are in material world, we are in ignorance. So, that the purification can happen only by seeking knowledge, taking shelter of Bhagavatam under the guidance of a guru, who is the key. So he only that way our purification can happen, and we can get spiritual advancement.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Very good. Yes, Ram Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. We have to understand our religion and our principles, and based on that one, we have to do the bhakti. And Paramatma is the Vibhu, and we are Anu.
Yes, that also is an understanding that we are Anu, we are. Yes, Lord is also such Chit and Anand. We are in quality, yes, and our constitutional position is to serve the Lord. Otherwise, sense gratification, everybody, that also animals are involved, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But this human body, as Amarendra Prabhu says, that it is the VIP coupon which we have got, this human body. Take advantage of that human body and try to get from this material world. Very good.
Also, Mataji, yes, for our spiritual advancement, we should read the Bhagavad Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam regularly.
Yes, we should be Nityam Bhagavatam. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So, no more questions. Any realization anybody would like to share? If not, can we end the session?
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji, for a nice, wonderful class. So we'll end the session with praying for everyone and then doing Vaishnava Pranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyascha Puttanam Pavanebhyo Namo Namaha Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Such a wonderful session as always.
Thank you, Mataji.
Pranam, wonderful session as usual. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam. We end, Mataji.